This conference will now be recorded.
Any questions? Gokul, Vishnu, Rohini, Shashikumar. So I'm considering as silence as no. Right, no questions for you. So now here we're going to entering into the concept of databases. So have you guys read what is the databases? What does it do? Right. So what is the main difference between SQL as well as not only SQL? So have you guys gone through that one?
Yeah, so coming to SQL, right? So it's a kind of a structural database whether we can able to insert the query and whatever like kind of we can do whatever we want actually using SQL query. It's a kind of a structural one, and non-SQL thing is it's not a kind of kind of structural one.
Yeah.
It's a kind of slow, kind of.
So thanks, Jiva. You spoke something. So now
in SQL, it is structured. In the NoSQL, is the not structured. In the structured data, data is stored in with the tables, and there is a relation between the tables as well. In the NoSQL, there is no relations between the table, and it is data is stored in the form of JSON format, key value pairs.
Shweta, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So thanks, Shweta. It's more elaborated. So, okay, you guys are doing something. So thanks. Good, Jiva and stuff. So now, yeah, so coming to this SQL and not only SQL, these are the two different database engines that you guys are cleanly going to work in your real-time environment. Right? So now here we're entering into the concept of databases mechanism here. So completely the databases mechanism which is there in your respective AWS, right? So very important databases. So as a DevOps engineer, you guys need to manage both SQL as well as not only databases. That means you guys you don't need to write the queries actually. You don't need to write the schema. You don't need to write the respective respective partitions or indexing. You don't need to create both of them actually, but you need to create, right? You need to create the RDS. You need to manage the RDS. You need to take the backup of the RDS. You need to restore the RDS backup. So all these things you guys need to do here. So SQL. So you call this one as a structured query language here, right? You call this one as a structured query language here, SQL. And not only SQL is called this one as a not only SQL in the sense there is no structured as you guys have said. So this is called structured query language here. Structured query language. This is also known as relational databases. This is also known as relational databases here, right? And this is also people called as SQL, right? SQL actually, they pronounce as SQL, right? They pronounce as SQL actually. People will going to be pronounce this one as SQL actually. So this is one main important. Right, SQL here. So now here the main fundamentals here. This is called not only SQL here. Not only SQL. So not only structured query language, right? Not only structured query language here. This is falls under the category of non-relational databases. right? This is falls under the category of non-relational database, right? Non-relational databases here. So this is one main important thing, non-relational databases, right? Non-relational databases here. So this SQL is going to be have an, so as I said earlier, this is going to be have an table base actually. So what do you mean by table base here? This is called table base actually, right? And this is going to be a declarative query language, right? Declarative query language. So SQL will going to be have an schema oriented, predefined schema, right? It's predefined schema. We will going to have a predefined schema. There is no schema actually for this. There is no schema. This is called document base actually. This is called document base actually.
What is schema? What do you mean by
Yeah,
schema?
coming to that point. You know, you guys are very curious. I will come to that point. Right, this is document base. Typically, it's going to be stores in the value of key equal to value base. Right, key equal to value base. So that is one main important. Right, key equal to value base. So now here, SQL will going to be scale over the vertically. This is vertically scalable. Vertically scalable. This is horizontally scalable architecture. This is horizontal scalable. Right, horizontal scalable here. Right, horizontal scalable here. So now here, SQL will going to be supports, right? SQL will going to be supports here. The database engines, right? Basically the database engines here, SQL will going to be supports here. So mainly you guys are using the MySQL, MariaDB, right? MariaDB. PostgreSQL is also familiarly used actually, right? MariaDB, PostgreSQL, and also you guys are going to be use the one more scenario, right? Oracle DB, right? Oracle DB. Also, you guys are going to be use MS SQL and Aurora, right? MS SQL and Aurora. So coming to the not only SQL, you guys are going to be used, right? Coming to the not only SQL, you guys are going to be used MongoDB, right? MongoDB and the DynamoDB, right? MongoDB and the DynamoDB here. MongoDB and DynamoDB here. So now here, this is going to be solve the ACID problems actually, right? Basically, you guys are going to be having the, it will solve the ACID atomicity, right? Consistency, right? Consistency, and it will going to be have an isolation, and it will going to be have a durability. It will solve these problems. This is going to be, right? This is going to be solve the problems of availability, because this is going to be support the horizontal scalable, right? horizontal scalable, mainly availability, and the soft state nature, because it's a key and value pair, soft state, and this is going to be in consistent, right? This is going to be there in the consistent. So now these are the main two differences between this respective SQL as well as not only SQL here, right? SQL as well as not only SQL here. The main difference, right? You guys need to understand this. The main difference between the SQLs as well as not only SQL here. This is an entry question. What is the main difference between the SQL as well as not only SQL? So now here will comes with the concept of what is schema and what does it do, and why should you need to work towards the problem solvability, right, with regard to the asset autonomicity, right, consistency, isolation, and the durability. So now here you need to understand about the what is schema. Let's say suppose you guys need to enter the respective personal information details, right? Personal information details. You guys need to enter the personal information details. What you guys are going to enter into the personal information details? What does you guys have?
Name, age.
Suppose,
Full name,
yeah,
age,
yeah,
address,
name, age,
age,
address,
address,
the contact number,
qualification.
yeah, whatever the qualification, the highest educational details,
Yes.
yeah, educational details, right? So like that you guys are going to. So what the schema will going to do here? Now tell me what is string here? What is the meaning of string? What is the meaning of binary? And what is the meaning of number? And what is the meaning of this three actually? String means, what does it mean? String means, for example, Shenmukh, or a piece of text actually. Binaries are zeros and ones. Number means 0 to infinity, right? 0 to infinity. So now here, whether the name is string or it's a number or it's a binary, string. So I have entered the name as Shenmukh. So age, I have entered these details, right? What is the age I have entered, and I have address Martali, Bangalore, right? Contact number I have entered. Education details, BTech. So now here, what is the purpose of schema here? What does it do? If suppose I have entered the contact number, should be stored under the contact number, should not going to be stored under the name, isn't it? If I'm entering the details of my contact number, if it is going to store under the name, does it make sense? You got my point, what I'm trying to say. If I'm entering the respective contact number in the database, if it is storing, saving under the name, you guys are, does it make sense? No, right? It should store under the contact number only. If I'm using the education leader, it should store under the BTech. If I'm entering the address, it should show under the respective address only. So this is going to be decided by your respective, right? This is going to be decided by your respective schema actually, right? Schema will going to be mapped your respective input, and it's going to be stored under the exact location, right? That is how the schema works, right? That is how the schema works here. It will create a table like this, name, actually the data is going to be stored in the form of rows and columns here, right? Rows and columns. So it will have a name, it will have an age, it will have an address, and it will have an respective educational details, right? Educational details. It will store like this, right? Educational details, and it will store like this. Name equal to Stenmuk, and so on. Ram, and it is going to be stored as Tom, and the age, the value is going to be stored some values here, 40, 50, and so on. Address is going to be stored in these columns like Martali, right? Educational details like BTech. So this is called rows and columns. The data is going to be stored in the form of rows and columns actually. So this is row and this is the columns. The data is going to be stored in the form of rows and columns in terms of SQL. When you created the table in terms of SQL, right? When you created the table in terms of SQL actually, this is how it's going to be happen. Right? This is how it's going to be happen. Am I clear on this?
Yes.
Right. This is how the data. Extra data encryption will be string. Am I correct? Yes. Encryption, yes, that is true. So now here, how about the data is going to be stored in this respective not only SQL. So what does now suppose someone asks you what is schema? What does it do? How you guys are going to be explained here in a simple terminology. What is schema for your respective SQL? What does it do? How you guys are going to be explained in the simple terminology here?
The data should be stored under the schema with the rows and columns.
Rows and columns in a specific location. If suppose I have entered the name, it should go with the respective the block of the name, right? It should not going to store under age. If I'm entering if the end user is going to entering the name equal to Shenmukh, and that data is showing under the age, you guys are going to, the respective developer is going to be confused actually. The end user is going to be confused actually. So now here schema will going to be helpful the proper location, right? Am I clear? What does schema do? So what does it do? Someone asked me actually.
Yes, Shanmukh, understood.
Yeah, good. Fine. So now here, this is called structured data. So what is the meaning of structured actually? What is the general meaning of structured?
It
What
should
is the
be a
meaning
kind
of?
of proper, as you told, right? Name equal to
Yeah,
name, age equal to
it should
number.
have a proper storage location. It should going to be stored in a specific, right, in a specific location. It should be controlled by the someone. It should going to be have some protocols, right? All these things is going to be structured actually, right? And when you comparing the unstructured data, it will store like a key and value base, like a document. For example, if you enter the name equal to Ganesh or age equal to, right, something, right, and then you need to enter the respective qualification, educational details equal to, right, BTech. So all these things will going to be comes into the form of key and value. This is my key, this is the value, this is the key, this is the value, this is the key, this is the value, right? There is no proper structure actually. If you want to search the respective query, it's going to be take the respective, right, performance issues. Like you have a filter. Suppose I want an enterprise customers, list of enterprise customers. Suppose I have a list of respective like premium customers. Suppose I need a list of respective basics subscription customers. How can I get the data? So all these things, right? All these things you guys need to have. Right? It will take time actually, right, to get the respective details. Now coming to the performance wise, now both SQL as well as not only SQL equal actually. So more or less it's going to be equal in performance, right? But here people see, as I said, when you are into you want to overcome the problems of ACID like autonomicity, consistency, isolation, durability, right? What does autonomicity, what does it do here in the databases? The autonomicity is nothing but you need to create, update and insert. Create, insert, update and delete. So these problems are being overcome by the respective SQL engines, which is nothing but the format of relational databases engines, right? Create, insert, update, and delete. So this is also called as CURD operations actually, right? The CURD. So what does it do here? Create, read, update, and delete. So these problems has been completely overcome by this respective, right, to create the respective query or to create the data or to create any kind of schema or to read the schema, to update your respective schema, to delete your respective data. All this management task has been completely overcome by your respective SQL format here, right? SQL format here. So now, what is the meaning of consistency performance wise, right? It has providing the consistency throughput actually. So you know throughput, the outcome of your respective, right? You guys know the throughput, the performance wise, right? So now, what is the meaning of isolation? What is the meaning of isolation, right? What is the general meaning of isolation actually?
To be
Protecting, protecting,
Sorry.
protecting some information or something.
away from
Isolation.
others.
Yes, separation actually, away from the others. Yes, separation. Suppose I want to involve with customer data, I will create one specific database. I will create one table for it. Suppose I want an respective product data, I can create one separation of the database. Suppose I want some mobile format, mobile data, I will create separate database. So like that, I can isolate within my one database. I can associate with I can isolate the respective, right, details of my database here. So that is one thing. So now here, durability. What is the meaning of durability?
Is it like flexible?
Then what is the
Long
meaning of
living.
flexible? Long living. Yeah, exactly. Durability is nothing but long living. How long will going to be have an? It's not kind of a lifetime. How long it going to be persist in your respective uh, databases, relational databases area, right? This is one main important thing, right? So this is the main advantages when you guys are going to be use the SQL. So mostly in the real-time environment, you guys need to understand about the MySQL, right? Nowadays, people are more focusing on the PostgreSQL, right? PostgreSQL. So you guys need to attend these two trainings actually, database trainings. So the expectations is you need to know the basic commands, how to create a database, how to create a table, how to take the backup, how to restore the backup, how to involve in the administrative activities, right? So this is what the main differences between the SQL and not on SQL. Am I clear on this? Right? Am I
Yeah.
clear? Any questions, any doubts? Yes.
Uh,
So now here, coming to this, our scenario of AWS database mechanisms of the AWS, right? So you have two things actually. One is with SQL, and second one is with the not only SQL actually. Right? You have two things. One is SQL, and second one is the not only SQL here. So this is called, you call this one in our database mechanism, you call this one as an RDS. RDS stands for Relational Databases Services, right? Relational Databases Services here, right? Services here. Whereas you also call this one as a not only SQL. This is called here in the AWS standards, you called as non-relational databases, right? Non-relational databases here, right? You call this one as a non-relational databases here. So now here you have a database engines like MySQL, MariaDB, PostgreSQL, right? Aurora DB, which is an right Amazon proprietary, right? Aurora DB, which is an Amazon proprietary, and here you are going to be have an right MS SQL, right? We're going to have an MS SQL, and here we're going to be have a right Oracle, right? Oracle. So now here in the coming to the non-relational databases, you have only the AWS proprietary called DynamoDB. So what is my thought process with regards to the AWS proprietary? Why I am convening this one as an AWS proprietary? AWS proprietary in the sense, can I get the DynamoDB in the Azure? Can I get the DynamoDB over the respect to GCP? No, right? So this is only, this terminology only works under, right? This terminology only works under respect. This terminology only works under AWS, right? AWS. So in the real-time environment, you guys are mostly working with MS SQL and PostgreSQL and DynamoDB. So now here, this relational databases and non-relational databases, the database mechanisms over the AWS is completely falls under the category of PaaS services. Right? This is completely fall in the right PaaS services. What is PaaS here?
Platform as a service.
Platform as a service. So what is the meaning of the platform as a service? What does it do?
So it all the hardware part and everything has to be taken care by AWS.
Yes.
Except the application and
Means, yeah. So that means the creation you guys need to do as an administrator. The maintenance activities. So what kind of maintenance activities, guys? Let's say suppose high availability. You can configure this respect to database in two availability zones, and the replication between the two availability zones. As I said, one availability zone is in one data center, which located in one location on the Mumbai. Second availability zone is an other data center, which is going to located in the other area of the Mumbai. Like that, similarly, you have an each and every region will going to have an at least two availability zones to enable the high availability here, right? So now here, the point here, what I'm trying to make here is, so you guys need to understand the replication between the data centers, right? The replication between the data centers here. You guys need to understand the replication between the data centers here. So one thing here, the replication between the data center is very difficult actually when you guys are not adopting the PaaS services, right? Whereas when you adopt the PaaS services, everything is going to be managed by the respective service provider vendor. You need to, right? You guys need to utilize those services here. Maintenance over the respective agent here. So now here you need to understand about the, so now here you guys need to understand about the culture of, right? So now here you guys need to understand about the culture here about the PaaS services. The high availability, the maintenance, the hardware maintenance, right? Backup and maintenance here, backup and restore, backup and restore, right? The versions upgradations, that means the patch management. You call this one as a patch management here. Version upgradations. You call this one as a patch management here. Right? You call this one as patch management here. Right? You call this one as patch management here. So all these things are going to be taken care by your respective vendor. Right? All these things are going to be taken care by your respective vendor here. That is one main important thing. Right? Respective vendor. That is one main important. You need to understand. Right? So now here we're going to be create a relational databases. We're trying to connect with your respective bastion host. Right? So now the architecture in your real-time environment, how does it going to be happen here? So here we're going to be have an, so here you guys are going to be have an, so here you guys are going to be have this respective thing, like you have an EC2, which is nothing but the bastion host, and here you have an respective relational databases. So from here you guys are going to be connect from the bastion host. That means you people will call this one as an hop box or relay server or jump server, right? The relay server or the jump server here, right? Or the jump server here. So this is how it's going to happen. The relay server, hop server, relay server, as well as the jump server. And here you have an RDS, relational databases, right? Here you have an RDS, relational databases. So these three, this is how you guys are going to be connected from the hop server, from the relay server, from the jump server. You guys are connecting like this. So now here you guys need to understand, right? So you guys need to understand how to create the respective relational databases here. The creation of the respective databases is take at least for 15 to 20 minutes of time, because right, because it's going to be enable all kind of replication factors actually from one availability zone to other availability zone to ensure the high availability. So now here, go for the relational databases, go for the services, go for the relational databases.
Shanmugh, I have one question. So this databases, right? So there should be separate DB will take care, right? So
But here, when you are into AWS, you guys need to take care. But ideally, when you are into on-premises, the database will go with you.
okay. Got it.
Okay. The stock nature here. So you guys are easily like enter into the value, storing your respective data into your DynamoDB without any schema. So schema-less actually. So just a key and value pair, which is in JSON format. So JSON itself is an Java object structure notation actually, which is in very lightweight when compared to other formats. So now here, so create a database here. So now the creation of databases, you guys need to, so ideally people will go with an Amazon Aurora. or the MySQL or the PostgreSQL or the MariaDB. So now here to ensure that, right, here the MySQL compatibility over the Aurora. What is the main difference between the Aurora as well as this respective MySQL? What is the main difference? What does it do here? Aurora has built on top of MySQL database engine with enhanced performance. Aurora is built, the respective Aurora has been built on top of the MySQL with enhanced performance actually. The performance of your respective Aurora DB is very high when compared to the MySQL or MariaDB. This is an AWS Amazon proprietary, right? Even though it's an AWS Amazon proprietary, if you want to move out from the AWS in future, let's consider if you want to move out from the nature, right? If you want to move out from the AWS, this is going to be compatible with the respective MySQL. So somewhere you can create the MySQL database engine. You can dump your respective schema from here to there, right? From here to there. So that is how it's going to be happen, right? That is how it's going to happen here. So now you have two things: standard create or the easy create. Easy create will not going to have an custom options, right? Whereas standard create will going to be provided the custom options here. So here, as of now, you guys are going to be used under the respective free tier. So the dev and test here, right? Dev and test environment. So you guys are going to be using the Aurora DB, which is a MySQL compatibility. So this is going to be a provision. The capacity type is provision or the capacity type is serverless. So what is the provision? What is the serverless here? Provision in the sense you need to select the respective hardware. So now here in the provision, which hardware you guys are going to be select actually? Which hardware you guys are select?
R5.
Why R5? Why not C5?
Because it's a memory, it's a database, right? It's a memory based.
Database itself is a memory hungry, right? Database itself is a memory hungry actually. So you guys need to choose and memory optimize instances, right? You guys need to choose and memory optimize instances, right? So here you guys need to either R5 or you guys are going to be use the respective R5 areas like X large, 4x large or 8x large, whatever, the based upon your requirement. This is the provision actually. Whereas serverless in the sense, you no need to select the right. Serverless in the sense, you guys no need to select the right. Serverless in the sense, you guys are no need to select the respective hardware. Not needed. Not needed to select the respective hardware. So what you guys need to do? You guys need to increase the hardware, based on right, based upon the load, right, based upon the load, it will increase the hardware actually. It will enhance the hardware, right? It will enhance the hardware. So based upon load, it will enhance the hardware. That means it will increase the respective hardware specification or it's going to be decreased based upon your load actually. So now that is how it will the main important thing here. So people, when you guys are into the production environment, go with the serverless. When you guys are into the dev and test environment, go with the provision. Like, am I clear on this? When you guys are into dev and test, go with the respective provision. When you guys are into the serverless, when you guys are into the production, go with the serverless here. Right? Go with the serverless here. That's how you guys are going to be used here. Right? So now coming to the factor here. So you need to understand. Please understand here. The replication factors. Single master and multiple master. single master and the multiple masters here. So single master and multiple masters here. Yeah, coming to the master slave concept here. Please understand. So what is the meaning of write operations here? Write operations. And what is the meaning of read operations actually? What is the meaning of read operations and what is the meaning of write operations here?
Read operation means it will read the particular content of schema. So write means it will, going to put, for example, if you are there is a file, the particular user want to, read the file means if the read permission is there, they can read that. So write means they can able to put, they can overwrite whatever they want, you can do it.
Yes, you are right. So write means insert, update, and select the respective operations actually. So that means if suppose I'm entering the values of my customer ID, right? Whether the customer ID is an he is an enterprise customer or he is an respective normal customer, this is comes into the category of write operations actually. When I'm inserting some data, right? When I'm inserting some data here, this is the category for the respective write operations here. So now here read operation in sense whenever you are fetching the info from the data. Write means you are entering something, you are storing something in your right, storing information into the data, into the database. Whereas read operation here, you guys are fetching the data from the database. Right, fetching the data from the database here. So now here, master slave application here. You have a master and you have a slaves actually. Master slave application here. All the write operations will going to be performed over the master. Right, all the write operations will going to perform on the master, and all the read operations will going to be performed over the respective slave actually, or the read operations will going to perform the respective slave. Right, all the read operations will going to perform over the slave. So this is one main important thing here. Right, this is how it going to works here. So this is one main important. So now here to make you guys understand here, so multiple master means it have an, so whenever you have an heavy write operations on your database, it's better to go with multi-master strategy. When you have an heavy write operations, you guys are better to go with multiple master strategies. When you have a read, right, when you don't have those many write operations, go with the single master. Right, all the read operations will going to perform over the slave. All the read operations is going to perform over the slave here. Am I clear on this? Any questions, any doubts? Right, this is how it's going to happen. So now you guys need to,
Asham, sorry for
Yeah,
this.
go ahead.
Is there any why? Is there any specific reason why we can write will be in master and read should be in slave? Is there any specific reason for
To
that?
get the high throughput, actually, high performance, right? To get the high performance, because all the operations will going to perform over the single nature, right? All the operations, if you guys have perform only the single instances, you will not get the high throughput. The CPU utilization is very high. So if you have using the sharding concept, isolation concept, we are using the sharding concept, isolation concept. That means read operations in one instances, write operations in the one instances, you will get an high throughput. To gain the high throughput,
So
Is it like master slave in Jenkins?
kind of. But master slave in the Jenkins, in the master, you cannot run the more missions, right? More jobs actually
Yes,
in the
yes.
Jenkins. But you guys are going to distribute by using the labeling concepts in Jenkins. So specific job
Yes.
need to run on the specific label. But here you don't have that label condition. You guys are using only the concept called master and slave. All the write operations will going to perform over the master, and all the read operations will going to perform over the slave. But whereas in Jenkins, all the operations will perform on the slave, right? But you guys are using the labeling concept.
Yes. Okay, got it.
So as you told master write and slave read, right? So the instance type should be very right.
Yeah, instance type going to be right. It depends actually. Here, this guy is going to give the respective instance type category under this. Will enable our instance category. But here, the instance purchase options, like you don't have instance purchase options actually. Right here, you don't have instance purchase options. For example, you don't have the spot, you don't have the result. You need to go with the on demand itself. Right? You guys need to go with the on demand itself. That is how it works. So now here, based upon your requirement provision, you know the meaning between provision, you know the meaning between this serverless and single master and multi-master. Am I clear on this capacity type and the replication features? Any questions, any doubts? What is the meaning of provision and what is the meaning of serverless? And what does single master do? What does multi-master do? Am I clear on this? Yeah. So now here, this is your engine. Basically, at this moment, people are using 5.7 only because this is the stable release. Of course, you have so many releases here, right? You have so many releases, but the stable version is 5.7 only. So this is the default one actually. 5.7 is the stable version. So as you are into dev and test environment, you guys are into, right, use the factor, and this is the DB identification, right? You guys are going to be use this one as an customer DB. So which means where you guys are going to be use, right, where you guys are going to be store the customer related information, right, like customer personal information, customer category, all this information is going to be enabled here. So now here you guys need to understand. So please understand here. So this guy already used the constraints, right? Constraints here. At least 8 printable ASCII characters cannot contain any of the following: slash, single quote, double quote, and at the rate. Right. So now here, so let me provide you a simple password. Linux.123, right? I have given this password here, but here you guys are going to be have an in the real-time environment. You guys are going to be use the password generator. Basically, this is the way you guys are going to generate. You need to use the string 13. So this people, this guy comes with this one. Don't use the @ symbol. Don't use this respective comma dot whatever this is. So now here, don't use the cross internet, generate the password. So this kind of password you guys are going to be used. You need to copy the password by using the password generator. So to get the strong password, right, to avoid the hacking or to avoid the compromise of your respective passwords here, right? So now here, So let's use our simple password, but in real-time environment, you guys need to use the password generator. So, however, so here I've been using a simple password to make remembrance for mine. So now here I use the burstable R5 large. Guys, remember carefully. So when you are using the R5, the billing is going to be high. As soon as you have created this one, just terminate your respective instances. Just terminate your respective instances. Right, this is one thing. Right, this is one main important thing here. So now here you guys need to understand, right? So now here you guys need to understand here. So availability and durability. If you create the number of replicas here, so in the availability zones, it will automatically replicate. If one availability zone is went down, it's going to be available over the second availability zone here. It's going to be available over the second availability zone here. So connectivity, it should be on default subnet, no public access, right? So create new and enable the RDS security group. So what is the port for your respective SQL? What is the port for SQL actually? What is the port number for RDS, guys? MySQL. Double 306. Forgot, huh? 3306. So you guys need to enable only the 3306 actually port. Right? That is one main important thing you guys need to understand here. So now here, so the DB based authentication, you need to use both password and IAM based authentication here. Both password and IAM based authentication. So what is the meaning of IAM based authentication that I will discuss in the later point of time. Right, in the IAM, when I'm discussing the IAM class, we're going to discuss in the IAM section here. So now here, this is the initial database creation. So if you want to creating the initial database that you can create. However, you guys are going to be use the commands like to create it. We'll use some basic commands here. So failover priority tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. So what does it do? The failover. What is meant by the failover priority here? What is the failover? What does it do?
Any issues on the one node, it has to fail out to the other node.
Yeah. So now here, so now here, this feature is only available over the respective read replicas, and this feature is going to be available only over the Aurora DB. Right. So now here, this is only applicable for the read replicas. If one availability zone is went down, it's going to be ensure that it's going to be enabled over the high availability zones actually. Only for the read replicas, and this feature is going to be available only for the respective, right? This feature is going to be available only for the respective Aurora DB here, not for all the one. The backup strategies. Generally, in the real-time environment, you guys are going to take the backup for every 30 minutes or every 1 hour or every 2 hours. Depends upon the criticality of your respective application. Your architect will going to be decide whether you want 1 hour data backup or whether you have an 2 hours data backup. This is you guys take the database backup as per the committed SLAs of your respective organization. For example, your organization has committed the 1 hour of downtime is acceptable to your respective client. Then you need to take the backup for every 1 hour, right? Or 2 hours of downtime. Then you need to take the 2 hours of backup for your respective, right? backup for your respective database here. This is for encryption here. By default, it will come with 1 day. So you need to write some lambda script to enable every 1 hour backup that I will discuss in the later point of time, how to take the backup for your respective database. So now here, coming to this one here. This is the KMS, key management services to encrypt your respective data. Right, key management services to encrypt your respective data here. So this will discuss how the key management KMS is going to work. This will going to be discussed in the coming classes actually. The KMS will have a separate classes where you will discuss about the data transit and data at rest and data at transit, and what is the meaning of this both two. How does this going to be enabled? So all these things we're going to discuss in the coming section here. And secondly, this is the performance insights. Performance insights to get your respective database performance like CPU utilization, memory utilization, and slow query. All these things, right, will comes into this category actually. As it's cost high actually, as this is going to be cost very high. The performance instance is completely over the monitoring one. Enable the performance. This is completely the monitoring stuff. Enable the detailed monitoring. So audit log. Who going to log in your respective server, right, over the database, at what time they log in and what commands they have executed. Error logs, if any kind of databases are going to be getting any kind of errors like connection refuse, database not found, authentication failures, all kind of error logs are going to be showcased in this error log mechanism. General info logs. So starting of your respective databases, ending of your respective databases, under what version is going to be enabled, all these things. And slow query logs. If any queries has going to be like having an issue with taking long time to execute, this slow query logs is going to be help us to identify which query is causing the long time to execute. But this is one main important stuff that you guys are going to be working here. So enable the auto miner upgradations. Right? Enable the auto miner upgradations. If suppose MySQL has AuroraDB has released the patches, right? AuroraDB has released the patches, right? You need to ensure that those patches are going to be upgraded, right? You guys need to ensure that those patches are going to be upgraded here. So that is one main important thing here. And secondly, so preference window actually, you guys need to perform this one on the specific you guys need to work you need to perform these activities on non-production activities, right? Or the non-production activities actually, not on the production days, production hours, non-production activities. So you can have them mention the specific time. This is going to be completely on UTC time format. So generally the non-working hours should be on the UTB time standards is 3:30 actually. So deletion on production termination, it will take some time actually. Like, so it will delete it, that respective database. So while if suppose any kind of unauthorized guys want to delete this respective one, right, you are not allowing me to delete. So creating the database. So this will take at least 15 minutes of time to create the database. This will take at least 15 minutes of time to create the database. So the request has been taken actually, and you try to get it done. So now here you have one master and two reads, right, which is on 1A and 1C to get the high availability, which is on 1A and 1C to get the high availability. So any questions guys, any questions you'd like to ask me here?
So what are the second two options here? Customer instance 1 and South.
Sorry.
Are they slave?
Yeah, this is for readers actually. These two are readers and the first one is writer. This is writer and these are the readers. So as soon as you will get, this is the region cluster and this is the reader and this is the reader actually. These are two readers and this is the writer. Two instances will have the writer. I selected the multi, right? These two instances will going to be there. So we'll wait by tomorrow and we'll connect to your cluster of your respective RDS. We'll try to create a database. We'll try to connect your respective database. We'll try to create your respective table, right? We'll try to enable it, and we'll try to we'll try to enable the options of your respective databases here. Am I clear on this? Any questions? Any doubts?
So one question here. So instead of going for this platform or services for the DB, can we go for like EC2 instance and create a DB on our own? Means, is that a possibility?
No, there
For
is a
taking.
huge maintenance activity. Ideally, is a very huge maintenance activity.
Mhm.
In real time, when we go for servers like Jenkins, whatever it is, in real time servers, we will go for on-demand instances, production instances.
If it is in cluster mode, you can use a mix actually. Yesterday I have showcased you, right? The LANs template. If it is in cluster mode,
Okay.
for
Okay.
example, EKS cluster, you can go with the mix and match spot and on demand.
Yeah.
But if it's in standalone instances, you need to go with only the on demand.
Okay. Even Kubernetes, Jenkins, everything.
Yes. Kubernetes this comes with the completely EKS mechanism actually that I will discuss in the coming section.
Okay.
So what is how the master and how the slaves and what is the high availability that you guys are going to looking in the Kubernetes, right? That I will discuss.
Okay.
Right. Can you have an AWS sample? That I will give a promo. There is a lot of time actually. Only 15 hours you completed by today. Still 25 hours is there. Lot of time. 25 hours means around 4 weeks, 5 weeks are around 1 hour, 1 month, around 1 month you have. Lot of time is there.
Shanmugh, that I asked like questions, inter questions. I see only one PDF, one document which has.
Yeah, I will give it. I will do. By today.
Thank you.
Actually, what will the complete difference between volumes and databases?
Volumes and EVS that I will discuss in the story.
Okay.
Don't worry, guys. I will give each whatever I can best I can give actually. So I will detailedly explain. If I explain also, okay, you may got answer, but still that is not that often. So where is the assignments? One, what happened to your assignment? Very busy, huh? This class is recording, right? Okay. What about Pawan Kumar, Rekha, Rohini, Shashi Kumar, right? What happened to Mangesh, Nitin,
So step up
Gokul,
one tomorrow I submit.
Banu, Avinash? What happened to you guys?
Yeah. I
Where
will
are
do
you
by
in this
tomorrow.
assignment actually?
My week off is on Thursday, Friday. I will start tomorrow.
Fine. Jiva, you are asking something?
For step up one assignment, I will submit tomorrow. I'm working on it.
Okay. So this is very important, guys. The assignment where you will get a content. Okay, we'll meet by tomorrow at same time, 8 o'clock, and we'll continue with the rest of the things.
Thank you.
Thank you.